for the literacy program, and why do you do it?
My business works with the literacy program because, like any small business in a community such as ours, we feel an obligation to help people that need to learn to read. It is one of the most important things I feel in obtaining a job or some means of support for yourself or family, and it's just our way of contributing to the community.
How did innovative data developers get involved with the literacy program?
When it first started, they needed help in determining what type of computers would be needed for the program. And they looked to us for assistance, and we provided that assistance at no charge. And it worked out very well for my company and the library. We worked together hand in hand.
Charlotte seems to have really gravitated toward computers in her quest to learn how to read and get her GED. How do you explain that? I mean, taking Charlotte as one person and what the computers have meant to her.
I feel someone like Charlotte has like anyone new to computers, this is the first time that you can interact with a machine and actually get a response back from it, from something you have interacted with. In other words, you type in an answer to a question, and the computer decides whether you're right or wrong. You actually see a response to that question. It's not like turning on a television and it's an on-off situation where you watch a machine. This is the first time that you have an interaction with a machine and get a response from it, from something you input. And it's exciting for most people. This is the first exposure to this, and it creates a wanting to learn. I want to go further with computers. And every time you accomplish something on a computer, it continues, you're wanting to learn more and more.
Do you have any suggestions for other businesses that might want to become involved in a program like this? Let's take a literacy program. Do you have any suggestions?
The suggestions I would have for any business is to get involved as much as possible. You'll interact with a group of people that you'll be doing a lot of good for. They won't be able to thank you enough. And there's a certain amount of satisfaction in that, a lot of satisfaction.
Anything else you want to say?
Not really.
That was
it's kind of like scared to death.
When was that public service announcement made with Charlotte? What organizations were involved? And what were the results, particularly upon you and your program here?
Well, the public service announcement came together 5 years ago through a partnership between the West Virginia Department of Education that provided the funding, WNPB.
Wait a minute. Did you?
That's a good answer.
No, see you.
Here we go, beginning. Okay. We need to redo the beginning of that. Hold on. All right.
It's called breaking news.
Go ahead.
Sure.
All right. The long question was, when was the public service announcement made with Charlotte? What organizations were involved? And how did it impact the Weirton Library?
Okay, the public service announcement that featured Charlotte came about through a partnership that was funded by the West Virginia Department of Education. WNPB offered the scripting, the production. A Parkersburg firm, it was an advertising agency, Fahlgren and Swink, offered the consultants for the scripting.
We'll start again.
Yeah, we will, won't we?
And don't worry about being too specific. You can just give us the general.
Oh, general.
Yeah, general. Okay, when were those spots made? Who was involved? And what effect did they have?
Okay. The public service announcements that featured Charlotte came about through a partnership about 5 years ago between the West Virginia Department of Education that offered the funding, WNPB's expertise that offered the videography, the advertising firm in Parkersburg that worked with the scripting, and all of the volunteer service agencies about literacy throughout the state that offered the content material. After the public service announcement was aired, we were flooded with telephone calls. How can I get involved? I want to be a tutor. I'd like to have information so that I can become a student. And some even called us and asked that they can't offer services, but they'd like to offer some financial assistance. So all this came together because of the partnership and the public service announcements.
How did the computer firm locally, you might like to tell us who that is, how did they become involved? And what do they do?
Locally, IDD, which is a small business that specializes in all different types of computers and software, became very interested in 1984 with our literacy program and our computer center that's housed here for the city. And they've been assisting us with their expertise since then, helping us decide what software to purchase, what hardware to purchase. And they assist us in offering in-services for not only the staff here at the library and the literacy program, but also to area residents.
What methods of teaching adults to read are most successful?
We found that the one-on-one method is very successful. Throughout the state there are two, Laubach method, which is the each one teach one, and the methods that are used by the literacy volunteers. We have supplemented those core materials with computer-assisted instruction. Also, we offer assistance on videos. It's the Learn to Read tapes. And the students can come in with their tutors and use our TV and use the videos also.
Your answers are wonderful. Really wonderful.
Was it all right to the way I am?
Everything. Every answer you've given. It's just concise and articulate. Yeah.
No, yeah.
What methods of teaching adults to read are most successful?
The most successful methods that we found are those that are one-on-one. We use the Laubach method here, and throughout the state that's used, and also those methods by Literacy Volunteers of America. In addition to the one-on-one tutoring, we also offer the computer-assisted instruction and also the use of videos, the Learn to Read tapes. And the students and the tutors will come here and use our TVs and the videos at the library.
Okay, we're on. Are you still on? All right, we're on. Go ahead anytime, Lucia.
How can businesses become involved in learning, in teaching, really, people how to read?
Well, businesses can become involved in many different ways, not only financially to support literacy programs, but they can offer this information to their own employees, because many of the employees that are currently working in area businesses have trouble with their reading, writing, math. And once they become involved in literacy programs, their productivity increases. They may offer them time to leave work. They may offer them incentives if they complete the program. There's a whole variety of things that employers can do to assist the literacy effort on a whole.
How reluctant are adults now to admit that they can't read?
There is still a reluctance on the part of the adult, but we've noticed that the increased awareness through the media, has brought more students to us because they realize that they are not the only ones that have problems with their reading, writing, and math.
How long can an adult expect to spend if he or she wants to learn how to read?
Okay.
What are we talking about?
It really varies because it depends on the level of reading ability that the student comes into the program with. In general, we say that it would take a year, twice a week, an hour and a half each time, working with a volunteer. Some students finish a little more quickly. Some tutors and students have been working together for a few years.
Try it again because I'm not positive there was a whole sentence. The content was real good.
Okay.
How long should an adult expect to spend
Okay.
to learn to read?
Okay. An adult should expect to learn to read within varying amounts of time. If a student comes into the program with a higher reading ability, it would take less time for them to complete the program that we have here. If a student is coming in on a very low level, if they're reading between, let's say, 0 reading level to a 2nd or 3rd grade reading level, then it could take them a year or two to complete the program.
When a person completes the program, how well can they read?
Okay, they're reading on what we consider a pre-GED level, at a 6th to 7th grade level.
Okay, again, I need to know how that ties in.
How that ties in.
Yeah, when they finish the adult literacy program here, when to tie that
Okay,
in.
all righty.
How do you know when they? How well can they read when they finish the program here?
Okay. The students that are involved in the literacy program here, once they complete our series of materials, they're reading on what we consider a pre-GED level, which would be, let's say, junior high level reading. We have materials that we offer so that they can prepare to take their GED. So then we offer a wide variety of levels and materials.
Let's talk about Charlotte a little bit.
Oh, okay.
What changes have you seen in Charlotte since she started here with her tutor?
Well, to begin with, her self-confidence has increased.
To begin with Charlotte.
To begin with Charlotte, that's right. Okay.
Okay. What changes have you seen in Charlotte?
I've noticed such a great change in Charlotte. To begin with, her self-confidence has increased. She feels more comfortable addressing a group of people. She's one of our best advocates. You know, as a new learner, she's wonderful at speaking to others and encouraging them to come into the program.
How much progress has she made with the reading?
Okay. Currently, Charlotte is studying to take her GED test, and she also is enjoying writing her thoughts and how she feels, and she has contributed quite a few pieces to our local newsletter, and some of her writings have also appeared in the local newspapers.
How can Charlotte write so well if she's still struggling with the reading? Are the two interconnected?
Okay. Reading and writing should always be connected, and the learning process increases when you can combine reading and writing. And it is a struggle for Charlotte, but it's a challenge that she is happy to undertake. She realizes that while she writes her thoughts, there may be some mistakes, but she learns from her tutor how to correct them.
What kind of, and this goes to the recent honor here, what kind of encouragement and support is out there for adults?
In other words,
we're going to go into the honor. Well, I'll ask you about the honor first. Tell me about Charlotte's recent honor, the Literacy Congress. I don't know anything about it.
Okay. All right. Excuse me. Charlotte, was this the third national?
This is the third national.
Third, okay. Well, I'd like to start about Charlotte's story, telling you that she was chosen as one of 3 adult new learners in the state of West Virginia at the first annual West Virginia Adult Literacy Congress, which was held in Charleston, West Virginia this past year, to attend the National Student Congress, which was held in Washington, D.C. And this was a time when students from all across the United States came together in Washington, and they discussed what was important to them as adult new learners and what they would like to get across to the legislators, what is important to them. That made no sense.
Will this be communicated to anybody who can make a difference?
Yes, they're expressing how they feel to the legislators. They met with the people on Capitol Hill that are those people that can make a difference when it comes to legislation.
What kind of encouragement and support is in the community? We'll say even in the weird community. We'll be specific. For someone who can't read and really wants to.
Okay. There is a lot of support out there for new readers, especially those that are willing to let someone know that they're just learning how to read. There's a sensitivity out in the community now that I feel may not have been there 5 or 6 years ago, because there's more of an awareness of the problems that adults face if they have problems with their reading and writing and with their math skills.
Somebody wants to help in the literacy effort. What should they do?
Okay. Locally, they can contact the library. On a statewide level, we have a toll-free number that the West Virginia Adult Literacy Coalition sponsors, and that telephone number is 1-800-642-2670.
Is there anything else, Pam, that you want to be sure people know when we're talking about the President's goal that by the year 2000, every adult in this country will be literate and able to, quote, function well in our global society?
First off, I'd like to say that the word illiteracy many times denotes that there is some sort of a problem, and I personally like to use the word reading problem instead of the word illiteracy. I want to emphasize not so much the problem, but that it's one of the solvable problems that we have. We may not be able to do many things about global warming or wars and famines, but each person that's a reader can teach another person to become a reader, and they can make a difference, and they can change someone's life. And readers succeed in life. And I guess that's it.
Tumultuous applause. You just glow when you talk. Particularly when we talk about Charlotte. Are you ready to talk about yourself?
To get people to say good things about what he's doing with the Partnership for Progress. So I kind of work with that. So, and every time a new company is announced in the state, and we create some jobs, and I work with trying to get the good news out about that. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen too often down here, but it does happen a lot, and some other places in the state's doing really well right now. So
well,
I'd
like to get the name of this area changed from a lost colony to the upbeat town.
Yeah, well, we want to see some things happen down here in southern West Virginia, and I think they will. If they get that road through
They
here.
can happen.
They can happen.
We can make them happen.
Mm-hmm. That's true. But there's just not many people left down here to make it happen, and that's the sad thing, because they all leave like me.
Bring them in, Sherry. Bring them in.
I know. Do you think I should come back and practice law in McDowell County?
Too many lawyers in Wells now.
How many's over there? About 5.
When you got more lawyers than you have grocery stores, you got too many.
Okay, that's good. Now the easy part. Mr. Hepburn, you talk to Sherry for a while. Sherry, you listen.
Okay.
Well, Sherry, I'm real proud of you.
I know you are.
You've done a... Well, when Kennedy run for president in 60, the country was just about at a standstill. We had had 4 rough years in the late 50s. In fact, we went through a recession. This mine here at Bishop had 39 conventional units. In 1958, we went from 39 units to 16. That many men was cut off. Section was depleted. And it was something similar to the Hoover's time. A man didn't have a job in 58 was just as bad as a man didn't have a job in 30. And Eisenhower was a wonderful general. He was an army man. But he wasn't a political man. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't educated for the political arena. He was an army man. He went to West Point. He was a 5-star general. He was a great man. But he wasn't a great president. And we needed to change. And Kennedy, I felt like I voted for him. I campaigned for him. I shook hands with him at Welch at the courthouse with John Kennedy, Bob Kennedy, and Ted Kennedy. I campaigned for him, worked for him. And he turned this country around. He started moving. He didn't ask, he told the people in his inauguration speech, don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what can you do for the country. And he would have went down in history, but he'll still go down in history as one of the greatest presidents we ever had. He was a humanitarian. He believed in live and let live.
And how did you feel about the difference West Virginia made in his election? Do you think West Virginia...
I think it was a turning point, because West Virginia was...
No, not at all. I just... Can you roll that? Roll it.
See, West Virginia was a Protestant state, and Kennedy was a Catholic. And when he won a primary in West Virginia, I feel like that was a stepping stone for him. Now, Al Smith would have made a better president than Herbert Hoover made. But Al Smith was a Catholic. And that's the reason that Herbert Hoover won the election in 28. Because Al Smith was a Catholic and had never been a Catholic elected president of the United States till John Kennedy was elected.
Why do you think West Virginians went for him?
Well, they had went through the recession, as I just was telling you. They went through the recession. They felt that something had to be done. And the Republicans, Eisenhower had 8 years. And instead of things getting better, they was going downhill instead of uphill.
Did being a Catholic hurt or help Kennedy in West Virginia?
Well, it undoubtedly didn't hurt him because he won the primary election and he carried West Virginia.
I'll ask one more question about education. If you had one word of advice to parents of kids in high school, what would you tell them?
I'd tell them that you're going to school. There's a way to go, and we're going to find it. I'm going to help you, but you're going. I'll tell them like Bill Cosby told his boy, I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out. You're going to school.
Okay.
The coal industry here in McDowell County is dead.
Out of the car terrible or just the truck? Okay.
The coal industry here in McDowell County is dead. The jobs that were here before aren't coming back. The stores are closed, the doctor's offices are closed, the service stations are closed, everything's closed, and it's not coming back. And because of these changes in the economy and people can...
I'm sorry. Is it press it too loud?
I'll hold it. People can't graduate from high school or drop out of high school and go to work in the coal mines. They have got to change what their attitude is about education and what they're going to do with their future, because those jobs are gone and they're not coming back.
Talked to a man in the coal company. He said, Bishop's closed today, it could open tomorrow. How do you react?
That's not true. The Clean Air Act may make some changes down here as far as employment goes, but we cannot let ourselves become dependent again upon coal as the only economy. And coal mining, which is what I grew up with, there are other industries out there that West Virginia is trying to recruit and bring into the state, and we have to see our future as less one-dimensional. We have to start waking up and realizing that we can't rely on the coal industry to save us, because it's not going to. It's done anything but save us.
Anything you want to say about your grandfather after being with him today?
My grandfather was a very special person to me and is a very special person to me. And he has inspired me to be what I am, as much because he wants me... He's inspired me to be who I am, not only because he wants me to grow and be... My grandfather has inspired me not only because... All of these trucks.
You got it. That's it.
I want to say something.
Okay. You get it.
A really good friend of mine from college, who I share a lot of things with, she and I were talking one day, and she said, "You seem to think that what you've done is the exception." She goes, people in people I grew up with every day go to college, go to high school. People that I grew up with went to high school. They graduate from high school. They go into college. They graduate from college and they get a job. It's normal. But yet you've done it, and to everyone that you know from home, that was an exception. You thought you were special because you did it. And I guess in a way I am special, because from McDowell County, I'm somebody who went away to college and got out, I guess you might say. But I don't want to be special. I want the same for everyone here. I want me not to be considered special anymore, because all the students in McDowell County are doing the same things that I am. I'm pursuing my dreams. A friend of mine said to me one day, "Do you want me?"
I'm holding out. I just don't know how to cut it.
A friend of mine said to me one day that you seem to think that what you've done is something special, but where I grow up, you did what everybody else does. You went to high school, you graduated from high school, you went to college, you graduated from college, and you went on, you got a job. And she's right. I guess I do think I'm special, because not many people from McDowell County have done that.
Okay. That's it. If it works, it works.
Doesn't it? Does.